Everybody, and welcome to the finale of Big Cat Week with Safari Live. In the age-old wilderness tradition, and despite the volcanic heat, we invite you to come sit with us and as we share and reminisce about the wonders of the Kruger National Park that we've experienced today. We're also going to talk about the winner of Safari Bingo, a wonderful start to our Safari Live. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back with you in the next few minutes. Hello everybody on the web, lovely to see you. The smoke, as you can see, is getting a hold of us slightly. We'll bring Scott, Jamie and Hayden in probably at the last minute so that they don't have to burn to a crisp. But chaps, join us when you'd like to. I'm not going to say too much to you all on the web there. So we'll go across to Peter. He's making his way here, and I think that'll be more entertaining than watching me cry in front of you. See you just now.
Guys, welcome this side again. We are traveling a little bit. Oh, I must just show you this for 2 seconds. That's a beautiful view. Look at that. 2 saddlebull storks up on the branch, getting ready for their night. That's where they'll be sleeping. We've got some ground to cover. Driving a little bit quicker than we normally would, unless we're going to a leopard sighting. That's what we try and cover some ground. But as James said to you then, I'm sure made you giggle or laugh as well. He's a very funny guy. Fireside Chat has started. They're just in ad break now for television, and we are just making ground, covering ground to go join them around the fire. And as always, when I'm driving around this beautiful part of the world, I am still looking around for leopard or anything else really, but it's not impossible. We can still bump into leopard en route, all the way up until the moment when we actually at the fire even. So let's keep a look around. There we can see the light in the distance from Boyatella Lodge at Juma. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. Timing looking good. Let's see here. Couple of impalas there. Buffalo and 2 in the waterhole. All those beautiful images of late afternoon in the bush. Time to show you the safari tent as well before we go back to the Fireside Chat. Well, safari tent, bushfire, all the same place there. Yeah. Have a look at that. Guys, I'm not going to stop. We're just going to drive past the zebra. So we're heading up towards the fire. Try and Impala. I'm going to show you where they are because it's important to know where they are relative to where the fire is, because if we're sitting around the fire and we suddenly hear the Impala alarm calling, then we know there's a leopard around. There's the fire. There you can see the guys getting ready with everything. So close together here. So just if we're sitting at the fire and suddenly we hear the impalas going something like that, then we know that there's something around. And I think we're just about to go back to the fire. Enjoy the Fireside Chat. I'll see you there shortly. Have fun. Cheers, guys.
So everybody on the web, we're back here. You can see I'm not alone. You obviously know everybody here. Peter is doing a small Formula One course just behind the Fireside Chat set. And in about a minute's time we will go live to television again. I'm hoping that the roar of that small Land Rover will stop. Mercifully it has done so. So like I said, we're going to chat through some of the... Oh goodness. Careful there, HT. Please don't move. 30 seconds. Right, okay. So we will be doing the best bites, and I'm going to keep saying best bites because it's a new thing, best bites, for me to best bites say. So I just need to best bite, practice saying best bites. Good, okay. We've got it. Best bites of Big Cat Week with Safari Live. Here we go, 10 seconds. Ooh. Right, welcome back everybody. I hope that you are all still with us. Wonderful to have you here at the fire. And like I say, an age-old wilderness tradition to sit around a campfire, even in the sweltering heat of the summer, and share some tall stories. I'm no longer alone. Next to me I have the Austro-Anglo-African Hayden Turner, Jamie Patterson, the cleverest member of Safari Live, and of course with the hair of Novak Djokovic and the muscles of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Scott Dyson.
Thank you, James.
Like that might help, I do what I can. Like I say, we will be sharing the best bites, a new word for me, the best bites of Big Cat Week with Safari Live, and it's wonderful to have you along. We've had some incredible experiences here over the last week. We're also going to announce the winner of a new competition that took place this year in Big Cat Week, and that was Safari Bingo. We know who you are. I know who you are. No one else does. And you're about to head off on a spectacular holiday to Tanzania where you'll watch the wildebeest migration. So wonderful stuff there. Look forward to that. That'll come right at the end of the show. So before we get into the meat of what we're going to be talking about, let's just quickly get an impression from everybody of what you were expecting from Big Cat Week.
I was looking forward to the increase in crew size, so we've got a lot more people in camp at the moment, and with a lot more people in camp we have a lot more fun, and a lot of more animals tend to get found. And I think the last week is testament to guys going out and really searching high and low for all different animals of the big variety and the smaller critters in between as well.
Jamie?
I think for me, I was just really looking forward to bringing a raw and truly authentic wildlife experience to a wider audience than we sometimes reach. It's very exciting.
And you, HT? New experiences for you?
Well, I think that the Safari Live is this incredible thing, and to have it on prime time for more people to be able to see it, and also during these shows during the day and the afternoon, incredible thing to get out to more people.
Cool. Right, let's go into Jamie's highlight or best bite of the week. Jamie, talk us through it.
Well, I think that although it is Big Cat Week, there has been one sighting that we've all shared, and it is the newest, probably my favorite animal on this reserve, and one of our newest arrivals. So have a look at this clip and see how adorable it is.
A very tender scene between a mom and her little cub. This is a spotted hyena, one of my most favorite creatures that we have out here. We're not sure exactly whether it's a male or a female. It's very difficult to tell. You are looking at the smartest predator that we have on this reserve, and particularly in this case, probably one of the cutest.
Oh, it is not a big cat. It's definitely very high up there in terms of the top 5 predator hierarchy, I'd say, vying for sort of second or third position just below the lion, and something that has an incredible amount of interaction. And so special to actually be able to spend time with them at such a tiny new age and watch the way that they learn.
I can see that you're crying with emotion.
I am.
I am as well.
Incredible experience. Everybody, you can't see
Tears
it.
are dripping.
You can't see it on screen, but there is smoke bursting into our eyes.
Yeah.
HT, you spend some time with that hyena too.
Unbelievable, absolutely incredible, and exactly what Jamie said. It was one of those things where you saw the adults, and we see adults a lot, but to see that youngster and the interaction and the habituation that has occurred between us and those animals, allowing us to get so close, it's just been extraordinary. And I'm a bit emotional as well.
We're feeling a bit emotional.
And Scott, you've been here probably a bit longer than, well, certainly on a permanent basis than the rest of us. How much interaction of lion and hyena have you seen around here?
We've seen very, very little hyena-lion interaction. Sadly, it's always an epic showdown. But interestingly enough, in this area, I think the hyena have wisely decided to do the majority of their scavenging from leopard, which are an abundant predator in this area. And I think that's why the lions tend to get lucky and don't get harassed too often by the hyena.
Yeah.
I think for us also, we've had an amazing time sorting out the social structure of that clan and trying to figure out who's who. As you all probably know, having watched the clan over the course of the last week, an astonishing social structure. Jamie, you're a lady, perhaps you'd like to share a bit about the social structure?
About the social structure. So the wonderful thing, and the reason why James is linking it to me, is for spotted hyenas, they are one of the only true matriarchal societies. So the females are bigger, they're stronger, lots and lots of high levels of androgen, testosterone, makes them very dominant over the males, and with incredible hierarchy underneath it.
And just in case you thought that that was a pride of lions about to attack us, roaring off to the side there, what we have is a whole lot of impalas, and they seem to be rutting, which is a very odd thing for them to be doing now. It might be the presence of two other members of the Safari Live team. Let us welcome the recalcitrant and effervescent Brent Leo Smith on the set.
Hello, Brenty. Nice to see you all.
Long-standing Peter Pretorius, who has been here since the inception of Safari Live. How's it going, Pete?
Hello everyone.
Okay, let's move on from the hyenas. Scott, you had an amazing best bite, probably the best kind of a best bite on your live safari.
It certainly was. It was far more than I bargained for, bumping into a big male leopard on foot during Big Cat Week when we were desperately seeking out leopard, especially seeing as though the day before we had spent about 7 hours between the safaris with the same male leopard, and he managed to dodge Pete just minutes before we went live. So it was good that we managed to regain a sighting with this large male leopard. Take a closer look and you'll see what I mean.
Can you believe it? We found a leopard. I wasn't imagining things. And it must have alarm called at some kudu. Or the kudu must have alarm called at it. I'm so excited. I'm speaking back to front. This is absolutely awesome. Now I've got no doubt that either James or Peter, who's ever's closest, is rushing across here.
Oh, there it is! Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Looks like a male. Just first sort of look at him in terms of size. Guys, let's show you Scott and them as well on the walk. Brilliant, that's where they are. That's where they are.
Oh, there he is, he's moved. He's lying down on the water's edge. For now, we can just enjoy the fact that we're viewing a leopard on foot in Africa live.
So, as you can see, the excitement in my voice explains the story. It was such an awesome sighting, and I must say huge credit to Jeandre, who was on camera, because he actually spotted that leopard, and the cameramen, who you don't get to see as much as we would like, are so critical in our safari experience in helping us find animals. And important that you guys know that it was Jeandre that spotted it, and he was saying leopard, leopard, leopard. I didn't know where to look, and eventually I found it. And the great thing was being able to then call Peter on the radio, knowing he was nearby, and for you to come in and take over.
Well, that's, I mean, the teamwork of this thing, and I mean, we can go on about teamwork to the greater teamwork of everyone, down to the last little thing that made the fire for us earlier. But the tracking part, and we had the same experience the previous day. As you said, you found the leopard in the morning, you stuck with it forever. I mean, I sat with him myself for a while. Then we lost it. Brent was on foot. I was in the vehicle. I mean, we had drones looking for it. You know, everything was going on. We couldn't find that cat anywhere. And that was just as much of a safari experience, not finding it. And then the next day you had this amazing sighting. You guys had it on foot. We sat him later on the water, like, you know, like looking at his face. So, you know, those things complement each other in the experience. So yeah. I mean, you know, you were running. I mean, you had it bark at you.
He gave me a little growl as I sort of slipped down a termite mound. I said, "Jeandre, don't move, don't move!" and Jeandre sort of halfway down the termite mound, was like, back up. And as we backed up, he gave us a little growl again. And we called Pete, got in there, and
yeah.
But if the leopard doesn't want to be found,
Tell us how you felt when he growled at you.
relieved that we actually knew where he was.
Right, so we've all spent time on foot, and I mean, certainly for me, it's a totally different experience being on a drive. And I mean, on a drive like you were with Peter today, you can get really up close and personal with the animals, with the predators, potentially dangerous animals. On foot it's a different story. Hayden, you've done some walking safaris in your time?
Absolutely, but specifically with some indigenous people from Namibia. I've spent a lot of time on foot with San Bushmen, and it's an immersive experience. That's the difference from getting out of the vehicle and becoming part of that habitat, and it's mind-blowing looking at things like what you guys do. The guys on walks pick up the smallest things, and the small things matter just as much as the big things.
Jamie, any particular walk highlights?
Well, for me, haven't spent that much time on foot here in this particular area, but I did a lot of tracking rhino in the area that I used to work, and that's also one of my favorite animals. So definitely spending time with them on foot, watching a rhino calf suckle. Yeah.
And Jamie, if you were to highlight a sort of rhino experience on foot?
I think it was shortly after we'd had an incident on the reserve, and we just had a new rhino calf born. I mean, it was a couple of weeks old at the most, and sitting down watching it suckle for 20 minutes, just sitting, completely relaxed, feeding with mom. It was epic.
For me, I had a wonderful experience again with Brian, one of the tall cameramen, and so he also better spotting than me, and we had the same sort of thing as Scott in the same area. We found the old consort of Mvula, he was watching there, Karula, the queen of Djuma, and just incredible how these animals have habituated to us. I mean, Scott, you and I spent 7 hours with Mvula that one day, and some of the time we were on foot following him because we couldn't follow him in the vehicle.
It's true. It's so remarkable how you can actually live alongside wild animals. It's kind of a misconception between a lot of people on the planet that you can't actually live alongside these wild animals, but provided you're being taken around by people who know the environment, you certainly can live alongside them and get to a scenario where even a leopard will kind of tolerate a human on foot, not see you as a food source, not see you as a threat, and still go about its daily business without caring too much, which is really special.
Yeah, certainly, and it's a primal experience to be on foot with an animal that is printed out as dangerous. And I always
all
like
the senses are elevated a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit like being live, you know. You adrenaline's a bit up, and colours are better, and focus is sharper.
Yeah. And Brent, maybe you share with us why.
One of my favourites, but quickly.
It wasn't what I was going to ask you.
Sorry.
But you go ahead.
We had this wonderful big Ellie bull who was on quarantine for about a week.
Yes.
And I was walking between our two camps, and I just sat down on the road, and he walked right up to me and sort of started sniffing me from about 3 meters, and then just carried on.
Amazing.
Don't try that at home, please. Don't go out and do that. Like I say, recalcitrant and effervescent is actually sniff. Okay, so that was our discussion of being on foot and in the vehicle and the difference, and just I think you can hear that all of us love to be on foot in the wild. It's a profound experience, and if you ever come to Africa, I hope, and the winner of Safari Bingo, of course, I hope that you will do some walking in Tanzania in amongst the wildebeest. Probably not too close when they're on the run though. Okay, let's move on to our next best bite. We're going to go on to a highlight for Peter, and Peter, possibly the greatest live safari experience ever filmed.
Well, lucky to be sort of part of it at the time. I don't want to say too much about it other than that, you know, in a lot of these safari experiences, people often wait for that moment of extreme of a rush, you know, whether it's a kill or it's something charging you, or, you know, all those. And trust me, I love those moments as much or maybe more than many others. I do like feeling alive, and you certainly feel alive when there's a big hairy animal running at you. But a great part of the safari is the whole experience of it, like not finding the leopard and then finding it the next day, or finding Tingana earlier. And we've only got a few seconds to show you this, but the beautiful part of the experience for me was, you know, we had fantastic elephant earlier, and then we found the leopard and he was lying around, and then he got active and he started scent marking and hunting, and he was on the move, and we zigzagged with him. We've got these great cars that we can keep up with it, and it was that whole build up. We had beautiful views of him walking towards it. That whole experience, he did this almost like a dance at one stage. He moved like a you know, Bruce Lee on his best day, and and then sat down, and then this happened, and that moment of it, I mean, apart from the fact that it was quite unique, the whole hunt itself, as you know, all of you guys enjoyed as well, but it was that whole build up of the experience that culminated in this big exclamation mark. I mean, he timed it perfectly, because in the last 15 minutes of the show, you know, it was just, I mean, you couldn't script it again. So have a look at this, but it's the whole experience that culminates in this moment that I love. Whoa, what's going on? Whoa, guys! Shh, sorry guys, I should be quiet. There's the tail doing a dance. It looks like a snake or an animal on its own. Wait. Look at that. Guys, this is... That typical moment where you are elated and sad all at once. I don't think of this now as a baby warthog anymore. This was a baby warthog minutes ago. Now it is food for a leopard. This moment that you and I are sharing, we will remember perhaps for the rest of our lives. If we see each other 10 years from now, somewhere to say hello, and we refer back to this second, we would both remember the feeling that we had. Isn't that amazing? That's what Safari Live brings to you. And we hope to share a lot more of this with you on Nat Geo Wild in the future. Well, as I said, what a moment. I mean, everyone, I think, jumped at the time when it happened, and I know everyone jumped again afterwards when we sort of, all were happy about it. But the hunt itself, that moment, I've been very fortunate. The word lucky has been used many times, which I don't mind the word being used in comparison.
I think the word Irish has also been used.
But we had the first live kill last year during Big Cat Week with some lions, which was highly unlikely to happen. We had another one in October, which happened in the space of an hour, and this being the third one. And one of the great emotions for me, and that's what I meant there when I say the things we share now and will remember forever as a shared memory, is that elation of the hunter being a hunter. We all get you're like, wow! And I've seen people at the back, 95 years old, going, wow! When you're in the hunt. And then once it happens, you have that immediate sadness as well at the same time. So that little piggy, you're sad for it, it goes, and but so much so for better for the leopard. He's got food, and everyone I know is cheering when it happens. But that emotional experience of the hunt and the elation and the sadness and all those things you experience all at once, you can only truly experience the moment of the hunt, as many of you might know from various different ways of experiencing the hunt.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm just happy to have been there. Thank you very much for allowing me to drive the Land Rover.
Yes, well, we do what we can for you. Hayden, you've seen leopard kill.
Definitely. I haven't seen any successful leopard kills here. Like, I've been in the same program as Peter's been with those animals, and we were all working together. I've seen Q, who is my favourite male leopard here. I've seen him a couple of attempts to hunt, but he never was successful. In Tanzania, I was sitting out in the middle of the baking heat one day, and contrary to what all the books say, there's always exceptions to the rule, and I think that's a really important thing to remember about wildlife. The books will say hunting more like at dawn and dusk or through the night, but you know what? When animals are desperate, they'll definitely have a crack at it, and it was the middle of a baking hot day in Tarangire National Park in Tanzania, and this leopard was lying down, and the impala were walking onto it, not completely unawares. Wind was perfect for it, and it did one of those complete jump up in the air and turn over backwards, somersault, and grab the impala.
Awesome.
Extraordinary. So they are just awesome animals.
Scotty?
I'm actually going to tell a story about not my personal one, but an awesome video that we actually watched the other day.
That was crazy.
And it's of a flock of guinea fowl running down a road with the safari vehicle following them. And they were just viewing these chicken-like birds running down the road. And all of a sudden, nobody was expecting it. This leopard just jumped up into the sky and lashed out at one of these guinea fowl that flew up off the road. So,
fantastic.
Some awesome experiences do happen. You just have to spend enough time out on safari with us, and you'll get to share those memories with us.
Do we know if that leopard caught the guinea fowl?
I don't know that.
It looked like it, though.
It did look like it.
There was a bit of camera wobble at that point.
The person got such a fright that they stopped filming at the critical time.
Brent, you've seen leopard kills, have you?
I have, but just because Scotty mentioned the guinea fowl, Andrew and I had an amazing...
You can't decide what you're going to talk about all the time.
With Quarantine, the male leopard, Ash's favourite, we were following him through the block, and we suddenly saw him see these guinea fowl, and he rushed forward, and he probably went... Oh, my feet conversion again is terrible. But probably about 4 or 5 meters into the air, like outstretched paw, hit the guinea fowl,
Amazing.
hit the ground, he dropped onto it, but the guinea fowl was gone. Didn't hit it hard enough. But yeah, just on that note, that was right here.
Do you know if the guinea fowl bounced?
18 feet, there we go, 18 feet into the air. I couldn't see if it bounced.
Who hasn't described a leopard?
Would you like me
yes,
to?
Yes, because you told me about it before, and I wanted you to tell me about it now.
Well, what I was going to go with was what Peter was saying about the mixed emotion feeling. And a lot of the hunts that I've witnessed have actually been failed attempts. And you're always watching that stalk, and you're torn between this, I want that animal to get away, but I want the kill to happen. It's such an interesting position to be in.
And certainly, yeah. I mean, like we say so often that we don't want to interfere, and we normally don't. And certainly when it comes to a meal, we probably wouldn't. But wonderful story from a tracker down south on the Sand River, and he was watching some leopard cubs playing, their mother was away, and there was a lioness stalking up on them, and they didn't know, and the guests were watching in absolute horror, and the ranger was watching in absolute horror, because they weren't going to interfere, and eventually the tracker stood up, picked up a piece of stick like this, and threw it at the lioness, hit her on the head, and she disappeared. The leopard went up a tree, and I don't think there's one of us who wouldn't have done exactly the same. Right, Hayden, you're a veteran of the Big Cat Week. Talk us through your best bite ever.
Well, my best bite comes from last Big Cat Week, and an absolutely extraordinary experience. In television, it's a great privilege to work in television, no doubt, but to work live, you can never tell what happens. You hope that things are going to happen, we all do. Come on, find the leopard or whatever, but you can never predict. And Peter was ending a drive. We had a deal that I was going to be at the fire, whoever was with a cat, and Peter was with Konuma, weren't you?
Which is the best young leopard.
Yeah, amazing animal. And it was just over here. I could actually see the tree across here, the top of it. And Peter was coming up from behind the Fireside Chat, and there was a shot of the leopard and me at the Fireside Chat talking to camera, and Peter with his spotlight on. This is extraordinary stuff. Then a hyena comes in, puts Konuma up a tree, and Konuma actually sat in the tree, in the middle of shot, just like right there, right in that spot there. And I mean, it looked like it was completely planned by some sort of 20th century fox, I don't know, whatever, you know, put the leopard up in the tree. And Pete just came in, popped his light on. Take a look at this.
You can actually see Hayden sitting around the fire in the distance. There you can see him sitting, with the smoke coming from the flames. That's where we're going to sit and talk to you just now. That's how wild it is where we are.
This has got to take the cake. This leopard has just come up and sat in the tree behind our shot, and there's no way in the world you could have planned this.
We were joking about this. You know,
absolutely incredible.
Imagine there's a leopard right there when we're doing this.
You can't plan that stuff. There's no way on the planet that we could have planned that, but I tell you what, that was one of my moments in live television on live safari that I'll never forget. And it hopefully showed everyone that what happens here is just completely unplanned, and we are members of the theatre, really, of the bush, and it was a fantastic experience.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Truly amazing.
I just want to thank Peter for stoking the fire while you were watching. Thank you, Peter.
Gonna get there just now. Give it a
The
minute.
wood's wetter here than it is in Namibia.
I love seeing you guys. You're like, their eyes look amazing when they've got tears in their eyes. Tough bushmen, you know.
So there have been some changes since last year.
Yeah.
The team consisted of you and Peter. You took your 3-hour drives. I think, Scott, you were...
Yeah.
I wasn't on the TV broadcast, I was just on the internet broadcast.
But you were here.
I was a newbie then.
And so from 2 game drives, we've gone to the walking experience, the drone shot with Drone Commander Andrew Francis, who's lurking around here somewhere, and also the tent. Talk us through your experience of the tent.
The tent has been an incredible platform for us to go a little bit deeper and a little bit more in depth. We've got a serious situation in that tent with now James Hendry and I teaming up as the, I think it was coined on Facebook the other night, the Abbott and Costello of Safari Live. And it's a great pleasure to work with a true professional like James in that tent. Seriously though, what happens is from the vehicle we see these incredible big things. That's fantastic. And then we go to the bushwalk, which is down to the smaller detail, and then we can take it down to another level, even more fine, and we work off each other, we play with each other, we share these things. And if the guys don't know something back out there, James and I can be going through books or the internet or whatever, trying to identify stuff. It is the real, it's the complete package now, and I'm just so excited about it.
I certainly have revelled in it. I thought when I was told go and spend a bit of time in the tent there, I thought, well, I'm just going to bake quietly on the corner.
Oh, we do that.
But just wonderful. It's a learning experience like almost no other.
Yeah. James and I have identified like 3 species that I didn't know and James didn't know, and it's great together. You feel like 2 little kids, don't you, in there looking for things. It's brilliant.
Right, before we wrap up, everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for, Safari Bingo, one of the new developments that we've had here on Big Cat Week this year. And the winner is a woman in the United States, on the west coast of the United States, in California, in San Diego, a recent retiree whose bucket list contains many travel destinations. Liz W., you are the winner of the inaugural Safari Bingo.
Amazing.
And so, Liz, you are now going to travel to Tanzania to watch possibly the greatest ever wildlife spectacle. And I know that all of us would be massively jealous of what you are going to experience
My
there.
bags are packed, Liz. I'll be there in about 15 hours.
All right, everybody, we've got 1 and a bit minutes left to be with you. We just want to say thank you, certainly from me, a huge thank you for all of your questions and interactions. It's so wonderful to talk to you all. And I will just have a quick goodbye from all of you. I don't know which final words, Scott.
I would like to ask kindly that you all keep following us on Safari. The more people that join us on these adventures, the more exciting it becomes and the more we can share and experience.
Marvelous. Okay, everybody, that's it. We're going to invite the entire crew in now
Come on, guys.
to say goodbye
Thanks,
to you. We're going to sing you a song. It's called Catch the Falling Light, and it's about the wonderful, sticky, hot summer nights that we're experiencing. Bye-bye. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next year, well, on the internet tomorrow. Bye-bye. I've been sipping GGs for a while. The dove threw some light on your smile. The guitar was playing, clapping somewhere inside. The golden crickets stuck in the night. The moth flapped round the yellow porch light. The hot air was thick and heavy with the summer. And I'm fighting in the loneliness of you. I'm searching for your heart in the heat. Now somewhere in the distance, in the smoke behind your eyes, the smoke